Hi, everyone. It's Henry DeVries from Agency Rainmaker TV. This is the show where we talk about how do marketing agency owners make it rain? How do they find right fit clients? How do they fill up that dry, dusty sales pipeline? Special guest with us today, Lucas Petty. Met Lucas at the Build a Better Agency Summit in Denver this year. Very impressed with him. Wanted to have him on the show. Lucas, how are you today?
Doing good. Thank you for having me, Henry.
Well, thank you for being here. First, why don't you tell people who do who do you serve?
I serve female executives that are managing marketing agencies, or they are the CMOs or COOs of organizations. And the reason
Okay.
I say female has nothing to do with the fact that my company is called AI Daddy. And-
Well, that's the leap I
so,
was taking. Who's
uh,
your AI daddy? Yeah.
it is it is because after hundreds of sales calls, we've had an AI analyze all our conversations, and we figured out that about 50% of male CEOs and executives will, at one point throughout the sales conversation, say, I have VAs I want to eliminate. I want to get rid of them. I want to fire these people. It's roughly around 50% of male leaders that bring up replacing people with AI. That is against our policy. And when we looked at the numbers, we have never had a single female leader start a conversation or at any point throughout our sales conversations say they want to get rid of their people. In fact, the most common question or general tone is about how do they protect their team and how do they empower their team with AI. And that fits with what we believe in at AI Daddy.
Okay, that's great. Well, what do you do for these people?
Really simple. We help marketing teams identify the best use cases for them and their team, and then incorporate and adopt AI to increase revenue, increase their marketing output, whatever it might be. So the way we do that is we'll get a team in a room, either in person and virtual. We'll map out their marketing processes, and then we get them talking about their biggest pain points, the biggest bottlenecks, issues that they identify when doing their work. And the reason we do this is because, quick little insight, 80, well, 70 to 80% of the AI challenges for adopting AI come down to people and processes. Has nothing to do with the tech. That's usually about 20% of like the challenges. And so it makes sense that the people who are terrified of losing their job, of getting replaced by AI, are fighting it. And it makes sense that in order to adopt it successfully, we focus on not just random tools going down AI rabbit holes. We focus on how we do our work, and we focus on improving the issues, the processes. So that's a little bit of how we look at and approach AI.
I got a message the other day and I responded. I said, "Are you a chat bot? Are you a robot? Are you a sentient being?" And they responded, "Well, I'm not a robot, but if I was a robot, how would I know?"
Mm,
That's a good question.
it's a
Well,
very
so now we know the who and the what. This is the Agency Rainmaker show. We want to find right fit clients. You're out there finding right fit clients. What are the two things that you are finding most successful?
half of our clients come from speaking to CEO, CMO, COO paid groups. Basically exclusive. We don't do any free events because we found that's not where we get people to convert into clients.
Okay.
But more
So
interest,
people paid to be at the event is what
yeah,
you're saying.
yeah, that you
Are
pay
you
for.
getting paid to speak or are
Not all.
you okay? No, I
Not
mean
all
that's
doesn't.
typical. We don't get paid to speak, but what you're saying is if people paid to be in the room, that's a better audience than if it was some freebie.
Yes, if you're part of a mastermind, think maybe Vistage, where you need to have a company that's making 10 mil or above, or certain groups where there's higher like requirements or barriers to entry.
Yeah.
Those are the people who are serious about making investments in themselves, their companies. So super easy. But the second one, which is more curious or more entertaining, is the other 50% of our clients come from TikTok. And I've gotten to work with the Mexican government. I've gotten to work with the third largest exporter of fruit in Latin America, companies all over the world, because they just watched my silly TikToks where I just explained what I do and geeked out on AI.
Do you do them in English and in Espanol?
You know, I am fluent in Spanish, grew up in Mexico. I've never done a video in Spanish, and I don't know why I get so many Latin companies wanting to work with me. But once they book a call and once we're talking, we'll have the whole meeting in Spanish, and it's probably one of the things that closes them really well.
Well, I'm a former agency owner and run agencies, and we've done Hispanic marketing. And there was just something from the research I recall that um, a lot of rapport when they find out you understand them
Yeah,
and you understand the language. So that's probably a leg up you have there, but it's not what you're advertising. You're not leading with it. You're
no,
not the leading Hispanic AI agency or something like that.
never
Um,
mentioned it. Never even talked Spanish in a video. But
yeah.
yeah.
I'm from California and I travel the country, and people, they ask me, do you eat a lot of Mexican food? And I say, well, first off, we call it food
Yeah.
where we're from. It's just called food. Um,
Mhm.
so we're in San Diego, we're right on the border there. Okay. So getting back to your speaking, because I've done studies on lead generation for agencies, and of the magnificent seven things you can do, three involve speaking.
Mm,
Uh, you, you're showing your authority as an expert. Now, I would like you to write a book one day because you can't spell authority without the word author. But don't ask a barber if you need a haircut; they're going to tell you you do. So that's my prejudice. But you're definitely on the best track with the speaking, and TikTok is just another form of speaking.
absolutely.
You're doing it through a social media channel. So bravo on that.
In
Okay.
fact, in fact, I would just add that it was because I did the TikToks that it was so easy to transition to speaking because there was no pressure in doing a, 30-second, 60-second soundbite where I'm just sharing my thoughts. And it got me really comfortable speaking to an audience and going live and whatnot. And then when it came to giving my speeches in front of 100 per executive rooms, I literally just took the pieces of content that went viral, got hundreds of thousands or millions of views, and I knew those were the sound bites, those were the quotes that would perform the best when talking to my audience. So it was such a great way to like A/B test and build my speeches.
That that reminds me of a story about the comedian Chris Rock. I'm familiar with Chris Rock.
He's
So,
great.
so Chris Rock was hired to host the Academy Awards. There was probably a billion people watching. He spent a month in LA, and every night he would just show up at a comedy club, and they go like, "Oh my gosh, it's Chris Rock," and he says, "Can I have 5 minutes?" Well, of course you can have 5 minutes. He tested all his material out, and so he
Hmm.
knew which ones were the winners and which ones he should drop. So he A/B tested. Um,
I
I
love
was New York City, and I'd paid like $100 once to go see Joan Rivers, and the person at the hotel said, "Would you like to see Joan Rivers tonight? It's $5." And I said, $5? And she was testing out the material for a special that was on TV a month later. So I think you're on to something with this TikTok A/B testing. Well,
it.
that's about all the time we have for today. Um, Lucas, is there anything else you wanted to add or say before we say goodbye?
Just thank you for having me. If you're a listener of Henry's podcast, you should look into getting yourself a book because he has helped me see the light. And I genuinely mean it. The speakers that I've seen who have a book at the end of their talks versus those who don't, or even the content creators that have that free or very low budget, uh, very affordable free book sharing their expertise, it is night and day what an amazing lead magnet that is. And it's just a matter of time before you and me get together and I'm already working on some ideas that I need to run by you.
Ready when you are. Thank you so much, Lucas. And until next time, everyone,
Thank you for having us.
make it rain. You're welcome. Make it rain, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye bye.
Ciao.